We all know it, but few want to admit it. CS2 has a problem that has been simmering for far too long. And no, this is not another video about cheating problem, because blaming cheaters for everything seems like an easy excuse for what has been happening. Counter-Strike is losing its spark, and that could lead to a slow and painful decline. We want to make Counter-Strike fun again, because it's fun that is slowly fading away from our beloved game. It's true that many players that once loved this game now barely touch it. Not because they stopped playing games, it's because they found more enjoyment in a different game, one that probably treats its player base with respect and delivers fun. Speaking of the player base, while the player count looks fine on paper, what portion of these numbers are just bot farms designed to make profit? Here it is, CS2 has already been out for a third of CSGO's lifetime, yet still in most areas we improved nothing. But there is a silver lining. We can fix this by using tools and ideas that other games utilize to revive their player bases. And not only the competitive one, but also for casuals. It's challenging in a game that has the highest skill ceiling and steepest learning curve out of any esport title, but it's not impossible. Today I want to share some ideas on how we could do this. We will first go through how we could attract more new players, then how to keep them entertained, and then I will talk about how I think we could make the game more interesting for even the most hardcore players. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make Counter-Strike great again. Currently, Counter-Strike is too difficult for the newer player. There are so many little details that if you suck at one thing, the domino effect will make you suck at everything. To tackle this, we need to teach newer players how to get into the game using bite-sized knowledge, and probably the best tool for this can be introducing mechanics like movement and shooting one at a time in a low-pressure environment. And now, the million-dollar question: how? An obvious solution has always been right under our noses. It's already been in the game and has been in the Counter-Strike franchise for decades. We need more creative ways how to play this game on casual level. Where are some minigames? Minigames, sometimes called multi-games, have a huge variety of gameplay opportunities. There are modes where you don't even shoot and you can win. There's surf, grenades, movement modes, a lot of opportunities to have low pressure fun yet get exposure to the game's mechanics. What you are seeing on the screen right now is a footage directly from CS2, and you can play it too. It's all on Workshop, and it's been there for a long time by talented map makers. Why these things never become part of the core game is a mystery, because it could genuinely be a great way how to slowly introduce game mechanics to newer players without feeling pressure to perform and allow them to explore things in a fun environment. I could easily imagine that you could queue the same way you do for competitive match, but you would queue into lobbies with minigame maps just with one click. And before you comment, but you can join these servers manually, please realize that all of this adds so much friction that most players will never actually try it. Today, playing minigames is actually the hardest it's ever been, because we don't even have a proper server browser anymore. We lost a feature that has been in the game for 20 years and it hasn't been replaced by anything even comparable. Just to record this footage of me trying to open it in CS2 has crashed my game 3 times in a row. You have to find the server online and then enable the console so you can connect to the IP. This is horrible, to be honest. Horrible. That means this entire part of the game, one that has entertained a large part of the community for most of its history, is now completely unavailable for almost all new players. Another option is more PvE content. I hear you asking, PvE, that doesn't belong in CS2, but we've actually had this in the past. Operations. Game modes where you play versus bots directly focus on the shooting aspect. They provide a very low stakes environment to improve and get better because you're playing against bots. A huge benefit here is that you can't get stomped by better players. Here, Valve could also make a speedrunning leaderboard to incentivize competitive players without punishing the casual. Yet still, even the casuals could get motivated to improve and track their progress this way. Main difference I would suggest compared to previous operations is that I would like to see these PvE missions as a permanent addition to the game that could get expanded slowly in some sort of episodes. They should always be available to play. And yes, we know that operations take time to create, but you know what? There is Once again, community-made operation that is fun, challenging, casual, but also has leaderboards for those grinding out the scores. You can find it on Leatify, so again, third party comes to save us, but you can also find missions, fun modes, and basically a lot of what we are talking about in this video. For full transparency, this video is not sponsored by Leatify, I'm just honestly recommending their service, but point still stands. We need to bake this into the actual core game. There is also the possibility of a new competitive game mode, something that CSGO did very well. Welcome to the Danger Zone, which I personally liked quite a bit. The hype around Battle Royale games didn't miss Counter-Strike and created iconic and innovative mechanics. We had breach bombs, bomb mines, tablets, drones, and finally a way where even worse player could outplay anyone in tons of fun possibilities. Yes, it is true that this is less accessible because it's a competitive mode that you aim to win. Still, a part of the community has liked it so much that they've decided to port it into CS2, and it's actually fairly playable, but there are no signs of something like that becoming part of the game anytime soon. Why? Well, some questions are not meant to be answered in this video, because I have no clue. You get the point. Counter-Strike is rich with community modes, but Valve has never taken advantage of it. Surf could have a built-in matchmaking with a speedrunning mode built in-game. Zombie mode could be a fun mode with low stakes. Everyone who grew up playing Counter-Strike 1.6 or Source has spent countless hours, myself included, with this game mode that turns a loss into another minigame of infecting as many players as possible. Valve is fumbling the bag super hard here. They've been ignoring the custom map making community for such a long time that other developers are creating entirely separate games just to take advantage of these niche and people's hunger for surf or minigames. Wait, what is that? Yup, it's sponsor of today's video, SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a fully automated, instant way to get better CS2 skins, and they just added an insane new feature, an inspect server. You don't have to guess what a skin looks like anymore, you can jump directly into the server and test drive skins in game before you buy them. Once you find what you like, trading your old skins for new ones takes just seconds, and if you use the code STYKO, you can get up to $5 for free as a first trade bonus. The bigger the trade, the bigger the bonus. Want to buy with real cash? Use code STYKO for a massive 35% deposit bonus. They even have a free section where you can do simple tasks to enter daily, weekly and monthly giveaways. Check out SkinsMonkey using the link down in the description, and thanks to them for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. Seasonal events are utilized in most of new games. It keeps game fresh and rewards the community by adding new content consistent. Best thing is that these events could be somewhat predictable and could build on top of new game modes. For example, during winter we could have winter themed minigame maps. The best thing for Valve here is that CS still has a vibrant community of passionate map makers, so they would just have to embrace them and they would get a lot of new content with just little work. Let's talk about the Armory Pass, by the way. This might be a hot take, but I think it is a good addition to the game. It's kind of better version of a Battle Pass in my opinion, which you know from games like Overwatch or Fortnite. However, its current CS2 implementation is lackluster. The Armory Pass should be always in your face, clearly stating what it does. Right now we can see newer players confused about whether they're just buying 40 stars at once and they don't even know they can actually stack 5 passes. It's not obvious that it's supposed to fill the same function as a battle pass and that it actually incentivizes you to spend time playing the game. But what about competitive CS? After all, that is actually what real Counter-Strike is. It's ultimate competitive game. It is difficult mechanically but easy to understand at the same time. It is this rare combo that has kept the game in the spotlight for 3 decades. But when you launch the game, it doesn't really look like you're supposed to be a team. It looks like you should play by yourself and you will get matched with others random. Yes, you can use third-party services like Faceit, but if this game doesn't become self-sufficient and keeps being dependent on other products, it's going to be hard to steer new players towards the competitive side. I would love if we had a ladder that has a competitive heart at its core. 5 versus 5 team-based matchmaking where you can climb as a team and you can get rewards like untradeable skins, agents or pins based on your progress. Here we do have to touch a little bit on the cheating point, but I think it could be effective to permanently ban the whole team if even one player gets caught cheating. This sounds really radical, but this ensures that you only play with people you know and trust. It's also why I specified untradeable skins. It's so people aren't financially incentivized to cheat. Still, you could say that nothing stops them from just making a new account, and you would be right, unless we create more friction. For example, that they would have to gain enough XP and have Prime enabled to queue for team matchmaking. There also could be seasons and sign-up windows where you could only create a new team during a few selected weeks, similar to ESEA Open. This friction is how League of Legends used to deal with making sure newer players actually learn the game before competing for ranks, and it also made veteran players think twice about doing something that could get them banned. Let me point out that Valorant actually has a team mode similar to this, but CS could do it so much better. Not long ago we received a surprise update no one asked for. We actually got to see the lineups of most useful smokes on competitive maps, but this was met with a lot of mixed opinions. First of all, you only get to see this for the first 5 rounds of each half and only in modes that are not Premier, which makes sense, but what triggered me are the actual lineups used here. Firstly, this whole feature is hidden and disabled by default, so you have to queue up, enable it, and then you see a smoke like this. I mean, you can still throw it and it will land, but it's simply not good lineup. There is a reason you don't see this thrown in higher ranks at all, because CTs will just block it and your mid swing will be met with a sad surprise. Overall, all these small things that are even pushed into the game are so out of place that they just spawn frustration. So let's move into chapter 4. If there is something that Counter-Strike is great at, absolutely best at I should say, it's something I call microfrustrations. Those are small annoyances you are not going to quit the game over. In fact, it might not even be something that you can point out individually. It's those intangibles that frustrate you and you just package it into this is so CS2. And this directly impacts the gameplay too, even if you can't play around these things. Look at Inferno, you might want to boot up a game after a day of work, and on T side you're going to play this waiting simulator behind smokes, making sure you don't get naded into oblivion or spammed through. And when you finally wait out the utility, you enter the site and get a frag, you're going to force the save from CT, so in 30-minute puck game your score is like 12-5, which is great, but you didn't get a lot of action. It's hard to have fun. Just the existence of these gameplays makes the game unfun, whether you realize it or not. Over time, if developer doesn't address these micro frustrations, it can get over the tipping point and it can cause you to quit or actively search for other games to play. Optimization in this game is at least improving, but at snail pace. It takes having a quantum mechanics degree to understand what settings you should use to maximize FPS while not tanking too many advantages you get by visible shadows or grenade lineups. Still, the amount of crashing even when changing resolution and graphic settings is insane. Comparing this to any other esport title, it runs way worse and you need a NASA PC to truly handle the demand. Sounds are a hot mess even after countless of updates trying to bring in directional sound. Compared to a game like Valorant, mixing of footsteps is pretty quiet considering how important they are. It is tough to understand to pinpoint where the sound cues come from, and it gets even worse on maps with multiple layers. Luckily, smart companies realized this gap and actually developed headsets specifically tailored to Counter-Strike. I use them for past months and are used at every biggest tournament because their noise cancellation and microphone are also world class. So technically you can get around this micro frustration, but it's once again a non-Valve product trying to improve a Valve-made game. Anyway, if you're interested in a Zone headset, discount code is on the screen and in the description. You support this channel while improving your gear, so a win-win, right? Next up, botting problem. Huge buzzword lately and rightfully so. Some modes like Deathmatch are unusable due to it. These botting farms are becoming a serious business which not only inflate the skin market and prices but also inflate the player count. It creates dangerous precedent where seemingly the game is okay by maintaining player base, but the real players are actually leaving. I think we're very far from the dead internet theory being applied to CS2, but it needs to be addressed. Some servers in remote parts of the world have probably more bots than actual players. Another nonsense for new players is the console. If you want to join any third-party servers and use some commands to improve your game, you gotta do it through the console, which is super unfriendly and overwhelming to a new player who just came to have fun. And this console is even disabled by default. When you launch the game for the first time, it's like Valve tries to gatekeep you away from third-party products, which are ultimately the backbone of the game. Oh, and by the way, why is Overwatch gone? And I don't mean that Overwatch, but a tool that was revolutionary in CSGO. You became the cheat hunter by getting the demo to watch, and you decide at the end if the suspect was using illegal external software or played fair. Why was this taken away? Or the better question is, why wasn't this brought back already? Surely this would result in some nice community cleanup of both cheaters and griefers that again make the game unfun. Lastly, I have some personal nitpicks that affect me, but I understand I'm in a small minority as a professional player and educational creator. I think we have an integrity issue in Counter-Strike and Valve is refusing to do anything about it for years. You see, when you practice against other team on a private server, you can't record the whole game by CSTV, but you can just record your own POV demo and that will store information about all the players on the server. So you can practice against the team that uses a secret tactic or powerful new utility. And if they use it once, you can go ahead and yoink it in a matter of seconds. POV demo should store only information about the team that player plays for. Anything else can create a potential integrity issue where you get information you shouldn't be getting. Oh, and those demos are still super buggy. CS2 Demo Viewer is still a miserable, terrible experience, but at least we're not like Valorant, who went to have an esports scene for half a decade without the replay system. I guess that is a silver lining, but damn, I'm trying really hard to find at least some positives about Counter-Strike. In recent times, there is a battle that Valve has to fight, and it's a legal one. There is a push from public figures to change the way how skins are obtained, and they want to ban the loot boxes and case openings for real money to get an item that doesn't have real value. And worrying thing is that it's making an impact and Valve has to act. For now, they are finding workarounds or loopholes, but every battle adds extra friction to those who log into the game purely because of skins. Whether you flip them, trade them up, or unbox them, or just use them as an investment, you are going to lose an interest if this friction goes up. And these dopamine hits have to be replaced by an actual gameplay that is enjoyable, or else players will just liquidate skins and leave. Look, I wanted to do this video some time ago, but I hate when I just complain and don't offer the solution. Now, after a considerable amount of time thinking and experiencing the revivals of player bases in other titles, I feel like we need to step forward as a community too. And we, as players and map makers, are ready. We're looking for ways to customize this game via scripts, ideas and content. We just need to be allowed to push it into the actual game so everyone can enjoy it, because Counter-Strike is meant to be fun for everyone, not only those who are good at the game. Shout out to you, all of my Patreons and Coffee members, for your continual support. It allows me to create more content like this. Your name is on the screen right now as a little token of appreciation. I used Coffee for years, where you can find extra content and perks at various tiers of membership, but due to popular demand, I set up Patreon too. Nothing changes, both platforms are treated equally, with same content. It's just for your convenience to use whichever side you prefer. Thank you for making my videos better and possible.